Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into how you can create mind-blowing AI time lapses completely from scratch. We're going to break down the exact process of taking an empty plot of land and turning it into a futuristic megacity right before your eyes.
You know those incredible clips online where a tiny, ancient village evolves into a sprawling, neon-lit metropolis in like 10 seconds? You've probably wondered exactly how they pull off that seamless transformation and whether you could actually do it yourself. Well, you absolutely can, and we're going to show you exactly how it's done. So here's our roadmap for today. We're covering the AI time-lapse magic, planning and core tools, generating perfectly consistent images, animation and smooth transitions, and finally cinematic polish and sound. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the AI time-lapse magic. Basically, an AI time-lapse is just a sequence of AI-generated scenes that show a distinct progression over time. Fun fact, the very first traditional time-lapse in film dates all the way back to 1897. But unlike traditional photography, where you might wait months or literally years for a real building to go up, an AI time-lapse connects multiple generated stages of change smoothly in just a matter of minutes. The basic formula behind all of this is actually beautifully simple. It really just comes down to 3 steps. You generate your static stages of evolution, you animate those images to move naturally, and then you edit the whole thing together into a final, cohesive sequence. Which brings us nicely to Section 2, planning and core tools. Before you generate a single image, you have to know what tools you're using, because they will absolutely dictate the success of your project. There are dozens of options out there: Midjourney, Ideogram, or Leonardo AI for images, Runway, Pika, or Luma for video, Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve for editing. But honestly, for a beginner, the absolute best, most accessible stack is using Flux for your images, Kling AI for your video animation, and CapCut for editing. It's affordable, it's simple, and it delivers genuinely stellar results. But before touching any of those tools, you've got to plan your story. For our continuous case study today, we're tracking a very specific evolution. We're starting with an empty plot of land, moving to a small village, expanding into a medieval town, modernizing into a city, and finally exploding into a futuristic metropolis. Now, here is the absolute golden rule. You must break your transformation down into 5 to 10 distinct stages. Most beginners totally fail here because they just jump straight in without a plan. But the reality is, the more stages you create, the smoother and more believable your final time-lapse is going to look. All right, moving to Section 3, generating perfectly consistent images. This is arguably the single most important step in the entire process. Prompt engineering is everything here. If you use a bad, overly simple prompt like a futuristic city, sure, you'll get a pretty picture, but it will absolutely break your time-lapse. You need a highly detailed prompt that meticulously locks things in. You want to ask for a wide cinematic shot, explicitly state from the same camera position, and deeply describe the realistic architecture, the detailed skyline, and the lighting. To make sure the AI video tools can blend these scenes naturally later on, you have to be relentless about enforcing 4 specific consistency rules across every single stage of growth. You need the exact same camera angle, the exact same perspective, the same focal length, and the same composition. If your images look totally different from stage to stage, the entire illusion falls apart. Now, writing all those consistent prompts manually can be a massive headache. So here's a huge shortcut. Instead of racking your brain, just feed this exact command into ChatGPT. Create 10 progression prompts showing a medieval village evolving into a futuristic cyberpunk city while keeping the same camera angle. It will instantly generate your detailed stage descriptions, saving you literally hours of planning. Section 4, animation and smooth transitions. Time to actually bring this megacity to life. When you upload your baseline images into your video tool, you'll want to use an animation prompt that focuses on gradual change. Explicitly command a slow cinematic transformation where buildings gradually appear. But the absolute most crucial part of this prompt? Tell it the camera remains fixed. You also want to lock in your software settings to match. Set the duration to around 5 to 10 seconds, use a medium motion strength, and again, insist on minimal camera motion. Why? Because these time lapses look infinitely better when the world evolves, but the camera stays perfectly still. To seamlessly bridge the gaps between, say, your medieval town and your modern city, professional creators rely on a couple of tricks. You can use image-to-video chaining, where you generate the transition from village to town and then town to city. Or you can use frame interpolation tools like Runway, Topaz Video AI, or Flow Frames. These tools basically do the heavy lifting for you, automatically creating those buttery smooth in-between frames. Let's wrap things up with Section 5, Cinematic Polish and Sound. This is where we make it look premium and viral ready.
First up, visual effects. Throwing in sensory elements like motion blur, light leaks, or atmospheric fog adds this incredible layer of realism. And don't forget color grading. Shifting the colors to crisp blue and neon tones for our cyberpunk finale, for example, dramatically cranks up the perceived quality.
But here is your true secret weapon: sound. Most beginners totally ignore audio and just focus on the visuals. But layering ambient music, cinematic whooshes, and the clanking of heavy construction evolving into futuristic digital drones, that is what actually makes the viewer feel the transformation right in their bones.
When your masterpiece is finally ready, you need the right export settings to keep it looking pristine. Aiming for YouTube Shorts or TikTok? Go with the 1080 by 1920 resolution at 30 frames per second, around 10 to 20 Mbps. But for long-form YouTube videos, you want to push that all the way up to a stunning 4K resolution at 30 or 60 frames per second in an MP4 format.
The really cool part is that once you master this city growth formula, you don't have to stop at architecture. You can apply this exact same workflow to massive, dramatic concepts. You could show ancient Rome evolving into modern Rome, age a character from a child to an elder, evolve a creature, or even terraform a completely barren planet. Just promise me you'll avoid the classic beginner traps. Never change your camera angles halfway through. Don't mix up your art styles. Keep your virtual camera still, and whatever you do, don't just generate 2 images and expect a smooth transition, unless you want it to look like a clunky slideshow from the 90s. Remember our unbreakable golden rule: more progression stages will always equal a smoother time-lapse. You now have the complete blueprint to manipulate time, architecture, and nature using AI. The workflow is entirely in your hands now, so armed with these tools, what incredible world are you going to bring to life and evolve first?